Welcome, everyone. It's Cannabis News. I'm here with Joe Klare. It is August 27th, 2019. The show, as always, is presented by the Marijuana Times, marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there to find this show. A bunch of great articles there as well from a lot of great writers, marijuanatimes.org. Today we're talking about Missouri medical marijuana and the licenses that will be awarded by the end of the year. Also, a big announcement from the DEA about progress on marijuana research, and MedMen making some big moves in Cali, as the kids say. All that's coming up. First, of course, Cannabis News brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Make sure you grow safe and poison-free. Don't use harmful chemicals on what you're growing. Don't use banned pesticides. Be regulatory compliant. If you're growing cannabis in a state where that is legal, you can do all these things with Natureside, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. They're awesome. Seek them out and check them out. This first story by yours truly at marijuanatimes.org. Missouri on track for medical marijuana sales next year. Of course, as you remember, last year, voters in Missouri approved Amendment 10, which legalized medical marijuana. The Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services announced it received over 2,000 applications for medical cannabis licenses. The person in charge of the medical marijuana program there had previously predicted somewhere in the range of 600 to 700 licenses. So they got over 2,100 license applications, rather. They're only going to award 348 total. 192 of those will be for dispensaries, 60 for cultivation facilities, 86 for manufacturing facilities, and 10 of those will be for testing labs. I got a chance to talk with Dan Vietz, president of New Approach Missouri, which has got the medical marijuana measure on the ballot, and Missouri Normal coordinator, said 2,163 is a lot of applications, more than anyone anticipated, as we just mentioned. He said, I hope DHSS will issue more licenses soon. He feels they're doing a great job complying with the law we wrote and that the voters passed. As I point out in the article, as I point out many times before, there's a problem with even a state government believing that they're going to be able to peg demand of patients in their states enough to where they're going to know how many cultivation facilities are needed and how many dispensaries are needed and things like this. And they're going to be able to keep up with changes in those demographics and in that demand and in that need. And I just don't see it happening. I think the state will support how many dispensaries or cultivation facilities the state supports depends on demand for medical marijuana. If there's too many, some of them will fold. If there's not enough, more will come in because the ability to succeed in medical marijuana will be seen, and they can come in, and it's forever moving towards some sort of equilibrium, supply and demand. But if you just pick the number of businesses that are allowed to have licenses, we take the supply and demand out of it, or at least you try to. You should have to reckon with the consequences, but it would just be much easier if the market decided these things. Maybe the state needs 192 dispensaries. Maybe it needs 140. Maybe it needs 270. Maybe it needs 6,000. Nobody knows. We haven't done this before. There's legal marijuana as a commodity really hasn't been done before. Back when marijuana was legal, most people didn't know about it. They didn't care about it. Most people didn't use it. These days, well, it's a little popular. I've heard about it on the streets. Yes. Keep my ear to the streets. What's going on? That's how I get all the news for this show. You think it's from email, newsletters, and searches on Google and news alerts and things of that nature? No. It's from keeping my ear to the streets. Tell your friends about the show. It's next story. The DEA just made a huge change to how the government treats medical marijuana. The federal government announced plans to expand cannabis research Monday, paving the way for the robust clinical trials cannabis experts believe will force the government to downgrade marijuana's Controlled Substances Act classification. The decision comes just 2 days before a key deadline in a lawsuit against the agency brought by cannabis researcher Dr. Sue Sisley of the Scottsdale Research Institute. Sisley has sought to end 3 years of stalling by the Drug Enforcement. This says agency, it's actually Drug Enforcement Administration, but it's a common error, the DEA. in other words. Monday's regulatory filing and the warm remarks from Attorney General William Barr that accompanied it in a press release effectively mean Dr. Sisley's won, coupled with Barr's ardently anti-pot predecessor Jeff Sessions' departure. Progress toward looser federal treatment of cannabis may resume. Shane Pennington, a member of Dr. Sisley's legal team, said, quote, "Until today, no one could do anything. We were handcuffed in limbo. Now they've done something. It's a huge, huge deal." The actual notice published in the Federal Register is characteristically dry, but it says the DA will soon unveil a proposed regulation to govern applications to grow cannabis for scientific and medical research. As I said, it's an announcement of progress in the future. They will soon unveil something. And when they say soon, sometimes they mean like very many years, but maybe a lot of people think this time when they say soon, they actually mean soon. For half a century, only one grow was legally approved for such purposes. That's the University of Mississippi facility, contracted by the National Institute. Excuse me. There we go. On drug abuse. Many of you know the University of Mississippi grow facility. Been mentioned many times. That monopoly on production has hampered researchers like Dr. Sisley. We talked about this as well on the show, and you've probably seen in other places. The quality of marijuana coming from the government is not that great. Not much variety. Not enough for actual research, the type that Dr. Sisley wants to do, into things like post-traumatic stress disorder for combat veterans and such. This will lead to hopefully more progress. I hope. I mean, obviously, don't hold your breath. The DEA are not known for the speed with which they do these things, especially when it comes to marijuana. But as they point out, it's a new day. A new day. That's right. That's profound. So there's this type of deep thinking that comes from keeping my ear to the streets. You're welcome. Can you believe the show is free? This last story. It's from BusinessWire.com. It's more of a press release than a story, but it does announce interesting and important news in the cannabis industry. MedMen announced the launch of a statewide delivery service in California, bringing the company's industry-leading retail experience to the customer at home. With over 400 products, MedMen's new delivery service is the most robust of its kind. The company will initially focus on California, where it has 17 retail locations, and expects a nationwide expansion in the near future. Delivery services, as I've said before, whether it's MedMen or others in California or in other states, are going to be a huge part of the cannabis industry. You see the way Amazon has changed things when it comes to the retail industry. Now groceries are delivered, all kinds of things are delivered. There's pickups, fast food is delivered from all different kind of, different companies, DoorDash and Grubhub and whatnot. You can go pick up your groceries. You can have them delivered in many places. Amazon will deliver, your grocery stores deliver. I know Kroger is rolling out delivering a lot of places. I've heard that Kroger is actually going to have self-driving cars that will drive to different homes with your groceries locked in them, and you have some kind of code or whatever. You can scan your app or whatnot, get your groceries out, and then the car goes off to the next place. It's crazy. And to think that's not going to happen in cannabis is even crazier. You know how many people get their cannabis delivered now under prohibition? You know how many drug dealers deliver? A lot. Probably more than ever. I don't know. Maybe do some kind of poll about that on Twitter or something. It would be interesting to know. I imagine a lot more deliver now than used to. You gotta move with the demand. You gotta keep up with the trends. You have to keep your ear to the street. Yeah, that's right. I brought it full circle. Normally I'm not clever enough to do that, but today I was. Thanks everybody for checking out the show. We're here 5 days a week on Cannabis News. MarijuanaTimes.org is where you can find us. Search the Marijuana Times on YouTube. Subscribe to us there. Apple Podcasts. Find us on that platform if you want the audio version. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thank you all for watching and listening today. And we'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.